Good afternoon everyone. So the sun's out, so the intention is tonight is to ride the bike into work, and for the first time just try out the Insta360 X3 camera. I'll quickly show you the places where I'm looking at mounting it on the bike. Generally the same places that I've been putting the GoPro on. So I'm looking to go onto the indicator stalks at the front, so I can basically run both cameras. I can have one camera on that one and one camera on that one. I've also, as already shown when I've done the installation of this, the booster plug, I've put some extra cable protector around there so that when my camera's on there, the actual jobby or the selfie stick is not rubbing against the cables, not going to cause any problems. I also fit the GoPro quite often down here onto the engine guards on either side, which then gives it a different field of view. So I'm going to put the camera down there as well and see how that works, and then also fit it to the rear indicator stalks as well. And what I might do there is when I put that on there, just put some sort of like connection around that so it holds it nice and tight. So yeah, that's what we're looking to do today. So what I want to do is leave early to ride into work, so I'm not racing or rushing. Take it steady down the motorway because the Insta360 is a lot heavier than what the GoPro is, and on the selfie stick it feels quite top heavy. So yeah, I'm going to take a steady ride down the motorway because I don't want it flying off obviously or breaking. Once I get to work, I'm going to take the bike work gear off, leave that there, and then I'm going to go back out and ride around the docks, and I'm going to move the camera to all the different mounting points I've just shown you, and put the selfie stick up at different heights just to see what it does and have a bit of a play around with it. And then what I'll do is I'll put it on the Insta360 Studio and have a play around with it and see what footage I get out of it, and then I'll put that up so you guys can see, and I'll also let you know how much of more work is involved with downloading it onto the 360 Studio and then putting it on Premiere Pro. I don't think it's going to be that much more complex, it's just a little bit longer because you're doing it twice, but that's it. So yeah, I'll let you know when we get on. So we start off with the camera mounted on the selfie stick on the front indicator, and all the camera views, when the camera changes view, is done in the editing program on 360 Studio. So you've seen me there actually moving it and making sure it's safe, and you can't see the selfie stick. And I actually do some talking there, and I don't think the audio is going to be that great on it. It's going to need an external mic if I'm going to use it to speak on, but it's picking up the bike anyway. So we ride off, and as you see, the stability is pretty good. And there you go, and I can move it around to look at me, look at the landscape around us. And at this bit and at this point, the selfie stick and the camera are staying quite still and are doing right at the moment. But once we get up onto the motorway, which we're just about to see, the actual selfie stick gradually falls back, so it's leaning against the cables, and one lens is looking straight up in the sky and the other lens is looking at my tank. So what I've done here is I've actually moved the view so it rotates all the way round from top to bottom and all the way back round to the front again, so that you can see, even with the lens pointing all the way up to the sky and the other lens pointing down at my tank, I've still got the full 360 view as it goes round. The only thing you might see is I've lost a little bit of the left wing mirror, with the stitching's not perfect. And then again, what I've done is gone all the way from the left and done a 360 or move all the way back round, and you can actually see where the camera is there. So it's still up, but it's leaning back towards my tank. But as I said, I've still got the full view, and I could have looked at anywhere I wanted and picked any sort of view as we ride along. So even with it in that position, and I left it in that position all the way to work because I didn't want to be playing about with it. So obviously at that point I didn't know what I was getting. I just thought, well, no matter what, I'll get some footage. Now I've left this bit on there because I'm riding up the slip road here, and I'm going to do some filtering, and this is just to sort of to let people that have only just started riding their bikes know that when you're filtering, you need to be careful, because as I go up here, the lorry in the right hand lane indicates and then comes across into the left hand lane, which is totally right for him to do, but if I've been racing up there like I've seen some people do when they're filtering, you could have had a nasty accident. Now I've come round, and just recently, if you watched the last couple of videos I've done, I've fitted the booster plug, and I've put the camera so it can see over my shoulder, because I mentioned when I've done the booster plug how the acceleration is quite smooth and the power's there quite quickly on my bike. And you'll see as I pull away, nice and smooth, and I'm gone. And here I'm getting up to speed, and still the lorry and the car are still only just getting away from the actual marker there. And don't forget, I'm riding the Yamaha Bolt, not a racing bike, so yeah, pretty good. And again here I'm going to do some filtering, but this is just also to show you how great it is to have nice loud pipes. Now I've got the Vance and Hines pipes, but as you come through here you'll see that the noise of the pipes, the vans here actually move aside for me and let me through, which is great. You don't get that a lot. Again, being careful when you're filtering, because I could see he was indicating, so I've stopped. They're letting him come across. The lane in front's empty, so I'm going to come up the outside and then filter through. And again, the car on the right hears me and moves, car on the left doesn't. And then this car pulls over a little bit, and then the lorry actually stops to let me get into the space in front of him, which is really, really great, and I acknowledge that. So the other thing that you can do with the 360 camera is you can actually program it to track something. So as we go around the roundabout, there's a Harley Davidson shop here, so what I've done is I actually programmed it to track the Harley Davidson sign on top of the shop. So the camera now, or the program now, is actually doing it itself and just going to follow that Harley Davidson sign on top of the shop. And I'll do that again in a minute, because I actually get it programmed to track me. So now I've changed it. I'm at work and I've got rid of my gear. I've changed it. I've now put it on the left hand engine guard, and I've programmed it to follow me as I walk back to get back on the bike, and then do my Stig impersonation, standing there putting all my gloves and that on. And then what I've done is I moved it slightly and programmed it so that it would look up and look at me. And this little bit of road I'm riding down now, private road, is pretty bad for potholes. The surface is really, really bad, and you'll see me moving the bike backwards and forwards. And the stability of the camera is really, really good. and also the stability of it mounting on this engine guard is a lot better than it was on the handlebars. This position here is probably the best out of all the positions that I tried. And there you can see me changing gear, which is another thing that I do again in a minute with the tracking. Now I have, because of it moving about in some of the positions I put it on, as you're going to see, I've actually ordered the actual instant 360 clamps, one for the front and one for the back of the bike. So here I changed it so that it would turn in towards the engine, then turn to the front wheel. As I was going around the corner there, it would wait because it wasn't able to track it round because it was trying to track the bike. So now just another view, got it following the front wheel. And I'm going to go back out onto the main dock road, and this speed limit down on the main dock road is 30 miles an hour, so I get up to 30 miles per hour pretty quick because there's traffic coming. So the stability for the camera mount on this point is really good. And as we get down here, again I've programmed it so that the camera will turn out onto its left, and what it's going to do is going to actually go down and track my foot so that you can actually see the gear change. So there it goes. So now I programmed it to watch my foot as I was going through the gears. And I programmed it to come back up to look at me. I pulled over into the service road just so that I could change the mounting position again. So what I'm going to do here is stop. I take the camera off. Again, it's still on its selfie stick, and you can see I've put it on the back indicator there now, and I've put it up on its full extension. Now it extends out to about 4 foot, and I'm making sure that it's nice and tight because I was a little bit unsure there, because if it was to slide round, there's a good chance that it could go all the way around and then hit the floor. So I didn't want that. And what I did here is I programmed it as I was riding along here to sort of like look over my shoulder, because at the moment it's just looking down at me. Look over my shoulder, and then on the left hand side here it's got loads of Tesla cars that have just come off the ship waiting to be transported out. So I've let you all have a good look at those as we're going past. If you've ordered a Tesla car and you're waiting for it to be delivered, there's a good chance it's on amongst that lot. Since November time last year, this has been constantly filled up with Tesla cars and with transporters coming in and transporting them all out over the UK. So they might be expensive, but someone's buying them. Loads and loads and loads of Teslas. Anyway, back to the camera, so you can see it looking down at me. Now the other two cameras, the two mounts that I've ordered will actually make it so that I can put the camera more out in front of me or more out behind me, so it actually looks like someone's riding behind me or in front of me filming me, rather than it being directly down like it is here. As you can see, looking over my shoulder there just to making sure it's still there, because I wasn't sure. Now I'm only doing about 20 miles an hour along here in this service road, but I was very wary that that could slip round and all of a sudden be dragging along the floor. It was a bit of a worry, so I don't want to go any much further with it there, so I stopped here. I'll get off, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move it still extended round to the front indicator, which is where obviously we started off with it. So I extend it back up because you didn't actually see it, but I did close it down a little bit when I took it off the bike. as I moved the handlebars, it was moving about. As you can see, I'm playing about with it there, and I wasn't overconfident that it was going to stay there, so I got back off and I closed it down a little bit. Because again, I didn't want to lose it. Now, if it fell back, it was going to rest back on the cables there. I need to add that when I rode into work and it was in this position, the selfie stick was closed right up, but now it's extended out a little bit, so I've got it looking down at me, but it's moving about, and I'm not over too sure about it there. This is one of the reasons why I decided I'd look at getting the clamps. And here I'm probably doing about 15 miles an hour. There's nothing else on the road, so it was safe, but yeah, I didn't like it. And in a minute you see I actually take hold of it and ride along holding it with one hand, because I'm just not happy that it's not going to stay where it was. And then again I pull into the service road up here. So the two clamps I've ordered, one of them will go on to the back, sort of like back rack, bike rack on the back, bag rack, and the other one I'll have to find somewhere on the front for it to go. It'll be on the handlebars. But yeah, you see I closed down the selfie stick there. And then off we go, back into work. So what I did on this ride was tried it out in the 3 positions. One, which is going to be the main one on the front, one on the back, and one on the engine guard. Now the engine guard one was the better one, as I said, and I could do that on both sides, so I can have it on either side of the engine guards. But the field of view there wasn't overly great. I'd be looking up at myself, looking at my feet, or looking at the front wheel. Which would be great for a long video. And then back into our yard. So as you can see, I just had the camera and let it work its way round and programmed it to follow me round. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this camera, and if you are someone who's thinking about getting a 360 camera, then I would highly recommend this one. Now the actual footage and then the editing, yeah, okay, you got to go on the 360 studio, but that doesn't take very long at all, and then you just copy whatever you've got into whatever your program is. Right, thanks for watching.